Hey everyone, it's Danny here. Happy February. Before we dive into this week's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our monthly newsletter, the SubHub Headlines. This month's edition just dropped yesterday and is now live on Beehive. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so by clicking the link in our bio or in the show notes. You can also just Google SubHub Headlines Beehive, that is spelled Beehiv, and it should pop right up. In this month's edition, we have a Q&A with newly minted 210 marathoner. That's right, 210. Christian Allen, who also is one of the best trail runners in the world. After some digging, we believe this is the fastest marathon PR of any trail runner out there. But of course, please let us know, email us, DM us on Instagram, etc. We also have our section that we call the Scoop, which is our opinion piece. MK wrote something up for that this month. We also have race results, 2025 series calendars for short distance trail races, and more. I also want to give a quick thank you to Never Second for sponsoring this episode. As I transition from the rehab phase of my injury back into structured training, I am nom-nomming their gels and their carb mix daily. But outside of that, honestly, the product that I use most often and is my number one is their P30 recovery drink mix. It's formulated with 87% whey protein isolate, delivering 30 grams of high quality protein and 15 grams of essential amino acids to support lean muscle growth and recovery. And this part is huge. It also contains 3.5 grams of leucine, that is spelled Leucine. And this is huge when it comes to when you're trying to pick a protein or a whey protein powder, because this is probably the most important key to actually boost the muscle protein synthesis. And most protein powders don't have the correct amount. And of course, Never Second does. So again, they have 3.5 grams. Huge game changer. So if you want to try Never Second, again, I'm using their gels and their mixes on the daily, but this protein powder is honestly the queen of my pantry shelf right now. Please feel free to use our code SUBHUB25 at never2.com for 25% off all your orders. All right, now let's get into this episode of Trail Tales.
Welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm MK Sullivan.
And I'm Danny Moreno, and welcome to the first Trail Tales, maybe-ish, second. I don't know what, I guess we technically did like a New Year's episode, but yeah, MK and I thought it was time to catch up. The trail season is starting to take off, and yeah, we'll just pop off, as MK says.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while that even for like a Trail Tales episode that we haven't had like somewhat of an outline. So good luck to you guys listening to this episode. But yeah, we figured we'd just chat about where we're at, what's coming up, and maybe some other stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
What do we want to start with? We were talking a little bit about just like getting older and having to take care of ourselves offline before this. Obviously, a lot of you guys know that Danny has been coming back from an injury. I've had some weird stuff going on in the last couple weeks, and yeah, isn't it? It's like kind of a bummer, but also like so funny that we are so bad at taking care of ourselves.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because we do ask our bodies to do so much. And I do think that like it does catch up a little bit for everyone at some point, no matter if you're the best in the world or not. The body is very resilient, but every now and then it's gonna kind of yell at you. And
Yeah.
I even like kind of have an image of who, one of the goats, Katie Scheid, like kind of limping down the last downhill of UTMB. And it's moments like that where you're like, damn, we all are human. Like,
Yeah.
she still freaking destroyed the course record, but it's like even her, like something came up at some point. And yeah, I think for both of us, obviously me being in this longer term injury, and then you kind of dealing with a niggle recently. Do you want to share?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, by the time this comes
Yeah.
out, I'll be racing tomorrow.
Yeah,
So it's like whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, we all have like those weird tightnesses that are always kind of there that we ignore until something's like fully wrong. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. But like when I went to Thailand over Christmas break, I had a week because we were in Chiang Mai and it was like just so fun and beautiful and everything was like a VK out the door. Where I ran like 15,000 feet of vert in a week, which I hadn't done since prior to CCC. And so I'm sure that is what started this whole thing, but my Achilles started to get like kind of tight. And then I did a workout the day before we flew back and then sat on a plane. And then, it was like still kind of tight. And then I like did all my training like it was normal and didn't stretch or like take care of myself. And it was still kind of tight. And then I had a weekend where I changed shoes and my like Achilles didn't work at all, or sorry, didn't hurt at all. And I did a double long run because my body gave me these signals that were like, you're okay, like you changed shoes, everything's good. And then Monday I woke up and like couldn't walk. So that was cool. But I basically just took like 5 days off and went to my massage therapist for the first time in like 7 months and saw my PT, and they were all basically just like, MK, you're being an idiot. Like, take care of yourself. You could literally just have avoided this by like stretching every day or like rolling out your calves. Because, in true runner fashion, like it's not my Achilles that's the problem. It's the fact that my calves are so tight that none of the blood is getting to my Achilles. So, yeah, took 5 days off, which is like not mentally the most ideal thing 2 weeks out from a race, but um, I know better than to think that I've like lost any amount of fitness, which is nice at least. And I'm just gonna be like really fresh, I guess, for Black Canyon. Things are looking up. So, I mean, if you guys are hearing this and I'm not on the line at Black Canyon, then something went seriously wrong in the next couple of days.
How was like, you know, acknowledging that this you needed some time of rest leading into this race that you've been training so hard for, because you're not the first person that's happened to, you won't be the
Yeah.
last. And so were there any kind of like mental cues or fallbacks to kind of help you process that moment and then make the right decision?
It's funny because Sidious Mag did an interview with Safan Hassan that I had just listened to on my long run like the day before my Achilles really tightened up. And she talked a lot about how the summer before the Olympics, she like was in a deep training hole, like way, definitely in some red stuff. And so she like took 2 weeks completely off, and then she goes and like wins the Olympic marathon. Obviously, she still had like 6 or 7 weeks or something of training, but that's a big hole to dig out of, even if you've taken 2 weeks off. And so I listened to that at just the right time because I was like, Rick wants me to take 4 days off, 5 days off, like whatever. I just did my big like double long run. I've been training for God since I was 12 at this point. Like I'm not fitness isn't going anywhere. And I just the hardest day was honestly the day that I came back to run. Because I walked. I still moved because like with Achilles stuff, you have to keep moving. You can't just like stop doing anything. And so I ran for 20 minutes on the treadmill and it was so tight and I just laid on the ground and like cried for a long time, like most of the day. So, because I was like, and when I first took the time off, I was like, if Black Canyon doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like it just is what it is. There's other races. It's January. Uh, but then I was like, I really want to run this race, obviously. Like I signed up for it because I want to do it. And so that's why I was crying, is I was just like, I'm not gonna get to run this race. And that's such a bummer because like I've been looking forward to this since, like New York, basically. Um, but yeah, I think just at the end of the day, I have to remind myself that it's just running. And the most important part is that I can run, at the end of the fall instead of just like running this race, maybe hurting myself even more and not being able to finish out the year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think maybe as we get older, it gets easier as like you experience it. And I think to kind of just like add emphasis, there's always is another race.
Yeah.
Hopefully, more cases than not, there is always another race. And especially with trail running, there's so many races.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, being able to like kind of accept that, but it is hard when you've been kind of focused on one thing. What about for like people who haven't been running since they were 11?
I mean, I would still say like just trust your fitness. If you have to take a week off, like my husband got sick, like really sick, probably 2 weeks ago, and he ended up having to take like 5, 6 days off. And it's just like you can't even worry about stuff like that because you can't control it. So if
Yeah.
you've been putting in consistent work up to that point, even if you've only been running for 2 years or something, like that work means something. It doesn't just go away. It takes a really, really long time to fully lose fitness, like months. Even people who like I'm sure you're finding out because at first you were like, I'm a little bit awkward, but now you're like, I want to do more because I feel like I can. Like somebody like Danny who's taken, what are we at now? Like 3 or 4 months off? 4 months,
Yeah,
basically.
almost 5. Yeah.
Almost 5 months off. Like, give her a month, she'll be fine. She just has to get those legs underneath her basically at this point, but the fitness is not gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard with that. I feel like there's that one, not, there's many overused quotes on social media, but one that I often hear is like some version of the best time to plant a tree was like 100 years ago. The best next time is to like tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's like all the gym and fitness influencers always say that. But yeah, it's kind of just, I think it's a process of learning how to just let go of things and
Yeah. It's
like,
just running.
yeah, just let go of the past, let go of the fears. And if you can learn to do that more easily, then you can be more present and be like, okay, this is just the situation right now, and I need to deal with this. Instead of thinking like about everything that I've already done and everything like I want to do, just like let's focus on today.
Yep. Doing all
Yeah.
your exercises, stretching, rolling out, like, yeah, it's just do what you can in the moment. But all that to say, also do what you can, all the other days
Yeah, all
because
the other days too.
I am just like notorious for not taking care of myself. Like I lift, I run, I do not stretch, I do not roll out. But now I'm like, I'm almost 31 now. There's no like not taking care of your body anymore. I've been running too long for my body to just be like, yeah, let's just get right out the door and do it.
Totally. I'm
Oh.
trying to remember when I started feeling that. I would say I feel like it expressed itself first in travel. Like, I
Mm.
remember I was like a young 20 something, and I could take the worst flight schedule and just like sleep in the back, like back economy by the
Yeah.
bathrooms. And then I'd wake up and be like, all right, let's go do stuff. Like, as soon as I land. And now I'm just like, man, leave me alone.
I need to sleep
Give,
for five
give me
days.
5 days. Yeah. And travel
Yeah.
is so much, yeah, it takes way more out of me. That's
I would
probably
say
when I
this
first
is,
started noticing it.
yeah, this is probably like my first instance of like, all right, it's time to
Except
like buckle down and actually do the things that you're supposed to be doing for the last like 12 years of your life. But I'm one
Yep.
of the lucky ones. I'm not injury prone. So like, don't expect that it will take you until 31. Just do it now.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I wish I could tell my younger self. I've have been working with various physios like through this injury journey, and I'm not flexible. And I've probably have shared at least like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, yeah, remember when you were like at youth sports and you'd all stretch in a circle,
Hmm.
and maybe like either the coach is telling you the stretch or like each girl would go into the middle and be like, now let's do this. And I
Yeah.
remember I hated the butterfly stretch. Like,
Oh
even
yeah.
as a 12-year-old, I could not put my knees down. And all the rest of the girls, like, were just like, plop. And I'm just like, what? How are
That's
you
how you
doing
knew you were
this?
going to be a runner.
Exactly. My limbs don't go anywhere but forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my parents will tell you the story of like, yeah, MK was in gymnastics for like 1 year when she was 5, and they were like, this is the most inflexible child we've ever seen.
She has no future here. Please take her.
Take her to like the pool or like, I don't know, soccer or something like that. Yeah. No.
But injury now is status better. And
Status is
you're,
it gets better every day. We're recording this on Friday, so we're like 8 days out. Gets better every day. If I can like confidently run like a 6:30 pace for like 15 minutes and then feel fine the next day, I think I'll be fine. So unless something goes backwards, like at this point, I'll be
yeah.
okay. But if I have any like feeling that I'm not gonna make it to that finish line, I'm not even gonna start because I cannot handle another DNF. So
Yeah, those are hard. It's like might as well just save
yeah,
that mental energy for a different effort. Probably
exactly.
gorges or something.
Boston. I mean, Boston would be
Oh,
next.
yeah, forget about
Yeah,
that.
Boston. But I'd probably do like, I was thinking if I couldn't do Black Canyon, like I would do Way Too Cool. and try to
Okay.
actually like go after the record again.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
So
super sick. Well, hopefully that's not the case and you can go after the course record at Black Canyon instead.
yeah, I guess you guys will listen to this and find out the next day.
Yeah. But yeah, other body stuff. Yesterday I ran 20 minutes, which was cool. Foot feels good today, which is nice. I did a gait analysis yesterday, and those are kind of like, those have never been fun for me. Like, I know my form is wonky. Like I'll have to find it. There's a high school video of me finishing state, like sprinting.
Yeah.
And there's no forward momentum. Like my body is just going lateral. And I'm just like, how did I produce energy? Like my
Yeah.
arm is like literally up here. And I'm like, and I just remember my high school coach would always tell me, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, if it ain't
Yep.
broke, don't fix it. Because other people would be like, do you want to try and help like fix Danny's
No.
form? And he's like, nope, she's fast enough. Like, we're
Yep.
good. But as you become a professional, and it's nice to think of like if there is ways to save energy. And for me, doing this gait analysis, so if you haven't done a gait analysis, there's like different depths of I don't know how to say this. Like, there's really advanced ways to do it where they put like all these stickers on you and stuff, and it like pinpoints where all your levers and hinges are in your body, and it'll like superimpose you onto kind of like an avatar or whatever. And then there's just people who have done it a really long time and they just eye test it and they'll like video it or they'll just watch you run outside. So if it's something that you're interested in, and basically they just point out typically like I was saying, like your main levers and balances. So they look at your hips, your shoulders, your arms, and stuff like that. And I chose to do it right now because coming off an injury, I just want to make sure I'm not overcompensating or compensating at all, basically, with my left foot. And luckily, I'm not. I'm just kind of in my old pattern and it's exaggerated because everything's just little opposite of stiff, loosey goosey. And so, yeah, that was super insightful. And I got a huge thumbs up, like just keep running more. Like we don't think you're going to injure it. So that was a huge step in the comeback. And to
Yes.
what MK just said, I want to train so much and so hard. But I have to stick to the plan. And talking to my coach, he's like, I think in a month you'll be doing workouts. We just like got to stick to the plan. Like keep steady, Eddie. And I've named my left foot Eddie. So Eddie's special and
he's steady.
And he's steady.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Just personify your little special one.
Yes, yeah. But Danny will be fine because she's been training for years
Yeah,
consistently.
exactly.
So
Whenever I need a confidence boost, I just talk to MK. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. But yes, injuries suck. And do what you can to prevent them. But just know, welcome to the club. They happen to everybody.
we're all bad at it.
We're all bad. No, things come up. Gotta keep it positive, MK.
Oh, I just mean we're all bad at taking care of ourselves.
Oh yeah, you can always do more. It's overwhelming because when you're like, I'm sure as you experience as well, like when you're injured, if you're working with someone or even if you're like seeking knowledge yourself, there's like a billion things. Everyone's like, you need to do this every day. But you only have like so much time and mental space and you have the rest of your life going on. And you're like, okay, hip openers, chest openers, neck alignment, like
And the funny thing is
control.
like at first I was just throwing everything in it so it would like start feeling better and I'd be like, ooh, except which of those things was it? You know, like,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing so many different things that I can't tell like what it is that's helping and not helping at this point.
100%. And like, yeah, there's just always the newest thing too, which doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
But MK's doing better, and we do want to touch upon this great thing that's about to happen. She's lining up for Black Canyon 100K, which is happening 10 days from now? 8 days.
8 days. Yeah,
Holy
Friday.
moly, that came up fast.
I know. It was like 1 second it was so far away. Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, can we run this race, please? And now I'm like, I'll leave for Arizona in like 5 days.
How are you feeling? We know you're going to accept the golden ticket. What do you think of the fields and just a whole spiel on Black Canyon?
Hey y'all, it's MK. It's that time of year where everyone you know is getting sick. My husband works for the school district, so we are constantly at the ready. I've been using Beekeepers Naturals immune boosting products, and they've become a huge part of keeping my system strong during tough training blocks, especially during the winter. Beekeepers uses propolis, which is packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. I like to use a throat spray if I start feeling like I'm getting sick, or if I'm getting close to a race, or if somebody else I know that I've been around has been sick. If you're looking for a natural way to support your immune system, I highly recommend giving Beekeepers Naturals a try. Use code SUBHUB20 for 20% off of your orders at beekeepersnaturals.com. I mean, this field is like incredibly competitive. I think
Yeah.
this is maybe like the most women that have lined up on a black or a golden ticket start line in a maybe ever. If I had to like
Yeah.
sit down and look at it, like the men's races have been similar, especially at Black Canyon for a while. And like this field is just crazy. Like last year was pretty crazy, but I am probably like I would say 100% confident that the course record is going down. Like I
Just
just
the
don't
women's or
think
both?
I think the women's for sure. I think the men's is maybe less likely just based on how much Hayden beat everybody by last year.
Yeah.
But like I could be wrong. His course record was really good though. But I think that the women's course record is going down for sure because high is 75 degrees. It's dry as all get out. Like there are 15 women who could win this race, you know? And so it's like I think when I ran canyons, I was by myself for like pretty much the entire day after I got dropped by Katie. Actually, the entire day after I got dropped by Katie, I was by myself.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing at this race. I mean, part of it is that there's less trees, so you can see people that are like, you know, within a quarter mile of you in either direction. But I also just don't think that anyone's going to be that far apart. I think even if somebody tries to break away in the beginning, there's going to be at least one or two people that go with them. Like, I don't know, the depth is just so deep that yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting race like from the start to the finish.
Yeah. Having been to Black Canyon a couple of times, I guess I did go the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a crazy 100K to me because of what you said. Like you can kind of see people the entire time.
Yeah.
And I have to feel like it almost makes you more in like a like, I don't know, people. Like I would compare it to a road race where you can see
Yeah.
people a mile ahead of you and you
Yeah.
have to keep pushing like in your pocket without
'Cause
getting
in a
like too excited at times, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
in a race like canyons are like way too cool, those races in Auburn, you can hide from people really well, like out of sight, out of mind, you know. I
That
I think
sounds
I've
so funny.
I
Just
I
like
think
duck in
that
the trees.
yeah, well, I think that I may have told this story before, but the first time that I ran like a big trail race was way too cool in 2019 or something. And I was in third for most of the day, and Anne Marie Madden passed me hard with like at like mile 26. And in my head, I was like, well, she's gone. Like, you know, I cannot match that pace. She finished a minute in front of me, maybe less, because those trees are so dense that as long as you can stay out of sight of somebody, it's like you're by yourself, you know,
Yeah.
like and so I learned that the next time I ran Way Too Cool, I was like, I just have to get out of Ashley's sight and make her feel like I'm not there
Yeah.
because I knew like it had happened to me. And so Canyons was similar where I was like, I just got to stay out of sight of whoever's close to me because of course I thought somebody was close to me all day.
Yeah.
And yeah, but at Black Canyon you can see everything. Like there are several parts of the course where you do like big switchbacks and you can see people. So
Yeah.
who do
I'm
you got?
laughing. I'm laughing because I have to admit, I did the same thing to Jennifer last year.
Yeah, you just have
Like
to make a
it,
hard move.
it was part of my strategy, like
Yep.
having ran races at Auburn. Sorry, Jen. Maybe that's
That's
frustrating you
racing,
now.
you know?
It's racing, but like it was literally part of my strategy that like every open field I treated as a pickup, and I would like
Yep.
pick it up until I got to the trees, and then I'd like catch my breath, and then
Yep.
as soon as it opened again, I would like push for like
Yeah.
4 minutes or
Out of
something.
sight, out of mind.
Yeah, and I was just like trying to push all the corners and being like, I don't want her to see me. I don't want her to see me.
Because it feels hopeless when you can no longer see the person in front of you, you're just like, well, I've lost them. But yeah, in
Totally.
Auburn, they are probably right around the corner.
Yeah, and like if you are fit and ready, like you can do those like kind of weird
Yeah.
surges and recover because it's pretty gentle terrain
Yeah.
versus like holding a steady pace. Like
Yeah.
it, yeah, I think you just mentally have to be ready for that. So I would
Whereas
agree.
like last year at Black Canyon, I think at some point Heather was like maybe 5 minutes in front of Rachel and my pack that we had there. And we could still see her. Like you could still see her like little figure off in the distance. But it was like you can't really break people in the same way, I think. Like you can make moves, but I think it's much harder to like get into that mental space than it would be otherwise.
So this is kind of a beautiful situation that's rare that you trained your ass off for Black Canyon last year. Unfortunately, had a DNF due to an ankle roll. Having had experienced as much of the race as you did last year, are you adjusting any of your plan, like going into this year?
No, I think like I still want to go out in the lead pack,
Yeah.
which was the plan last year, but Heather went out so hard and it was so muddy that I had never run 100K before, but I could almost immediately feel I was like, that's not for me. Like I'm not going to be able to do that. Um, which, at the end of the day, like it worked out for Rachel that she didn't go with Heather, obviously. And so, I think that it's going to be a similar day, but just like way less sloppy. So if you let people get too much of a gap early, like there's not going to be as much attrition, I think, as there was last year. Because like a lot of us probably wasted a good amount of energy in those first 20 miles last year. And I
Yeah.
just don't think that that's going to happen in the same way this year if it's dry.
Yeah, looking at Rachel's paces last year, like we'll just look at the first 20. A lot of them were like 7 lows to
Yeah.
7:30 pace. Do you think that can be like all lows to like sub 7 minute pace? I haven't actually ran that
I
first
think
part.
I think some of them can be. I don't think you want to go out too much harder than we did. I
Yeah.
think it's probably that like middle section because the thing about Black Canyon, and I haven't
Mhm.
done much research on like the men's side, but I imagine it's pretty similar, is everybody goes out hard and it's just a slow die. And so it's just like trying to mitigate that death a little bit more in the middle, I think, because everybody can get to
Totally.
mile 10 and be or mile 52 and be like, oh my, okay, I only have 10 miles to go. Like, because that's how I felt at Canyons. It was like, I only have 10 miles to go. I can pick it up now. But it's
Yeah.
just like running a track race. Like everybody falls asleep in that like third quarter of the race. So you just have to be like in it, in that really technical section.
Yeah, it's super interesting too because looking at Rachel's splits also, they do go from like sevens and then she has like 10 miles that are 8 to 9 minutes and
Yeah.
then it's a bit slower
Yeah.
and then she just has like little miles where she's like has a little bit like it drops and then it's like 10 minutes
Yeah.
and looking at this course I've never actually deep dived into this course obviously but it is interesting like first impressions that mile 8 to almost 20 is so fast downhill that if you just
Yeah.
burn your legs, then you can't actually run and climb at the
Yeah.
end. But you have to
Yeah.
stay with the pack. What a mind F.
It's that's what I did like a little interview with Chasing Gold for the Black Canyon and they asked me like what the hardest part about the race was and I was like just running my own race because everybody's going to be like I got to be with that person. I got to be with that person. I'm also
Totally.
going to be in that mindset. It's like yeah, you do have to be with that person, but like what is your body telling you in this moment? Like
100%.
it's going to be a weird day, I think, just with that many people around. I don't know that I've ever really experienced that outside of like
OCC maybe at the start?
maybe Sears and Knoll or yeah,
Yeah.
OCC. Because even at Mont Blanc Marathon, like when I was up in the front, it was just me, Sarah, and um, I can't think of her name right now. There were just three of us, and
Oh,
so it wasn't
Anai?
Anahi, yeah. It wasn't so much pressure that like,
Yeah.
yeah, whereas like, yeah, OCC, there were like 15 people that I was like, wow, who do I
Yeah.
go with? What do I do? So yeah.
100%.
But I
Yeah.
feel much more confident going
This
into this
time.
race than I probably ever would have going into OCC that first year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, we kind of were chatting about it offline. I feel like the women are kind of easier to cover, but what's interesting about this list too is I, through the grapevine, don't know of anyone who actually would pass on the ticket except Heather already has a spot.
Yeah, I
But
think she's
there's
the
no
only
other
person
top
that has a
10.
spot.
Yeah, no one else has a spot already, which is kind of crazy.
It
So
is
it's like
crazy.
you like to the mental side
The
of it.
stakes are high
The
for
stakes are
everyone
high. Like you
involved.
want to be in the top 3.
Yeah.
Like you have to be. Like the
Yeah.
odds of it rolling down are kind of insane.
Because if I learned anything at canyons, like unless you've done something absolutely stupid, nothing changes after 50K a lot of the time. So like you need to be in that position that you want to be in or very close to it with 50K to go.
Yeah. When did Rachel pass Heather last year? And Becca and
I think it
Lauren?
was soon after I dropped out because I remember telling Rachel like, you know, she's not that far in front of us. Like you guys can still go get her. And then I feel like they caught her to at probably at 50K because she was like 5 minutes ahead of us at some point, and then at that aid station she was only 2 minutes ahead of us. So
Oh, is that the grass one?
yeah,
Like
the big campground area.
the campground area. Yeah, she
Mhm.
was in the lead at that point.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. Huh. All right. Hot
yeah.
take maybe.
Rod told me that before canyons. He said pretty much nothing will change after 50K. And so I told myself I had to be in the position that I wanted to be in, and it worked because he did the same thing, obviously. He put himself in the lead before 50K, and then nothing changed.
Do you think so you do think you would bet money that whoever crosses the 50K is going to win next
No.
weekend? Okay.
No, I wouldn't bet money, but I think
But
whoever is within like a 2 minute on either side, you know, like of that front pack, like whoever's there at 50K, likely to win.
Hey y'all, it's MK. If you've seen me out on the trail or at a race this season, you've probably seen me rocking the Pit Viper Admirers. These heart-shaped glasses have been my go-to for a look good, feel good attitude on race day and just in training. Not only do they make me look way cooler than I am, but they come at an affordable price and they come in a style for any personality or mood you might be having. Pit Vipers are the sunglasses sunglasses would wear if sunglasses could wear sunglasses. If you want to run in style, go to the link in our show notes for 15% off your next Pit Viper purchase. See you out on Party Mountain.
okay. What do you think the winning time and maybe the podium's going to be on the women's side and then we'll do the men's side?
I think winning time on the women's side will be somewhere between 8:35 and 8:40.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you think
and
the
then
whole
maybe
podium?
I think the podium will definitely all be under 9 minutes. I think the podium will be under 8:50.
Dang. I'm trying to pull up last year's really quick. If that is
Because
the case.
Rachel put on a lot of heat in that last 10
Well,
miles, I think, on Becca.
yeah. Yeah, Becca ended up being 8:52. So only 2 women broke 8, and you're thinking at least 3 if not more. Or 9, sorry.
9, yeah. I think at least 3, if not more. I don't think more than 5, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just think I just think you have to run the course record this year to win.
Yeah, Becca was 5 minutes behind Rachel. Not that far in
That's not that
100K.
far. But she was on Rachel's butt, like, you know, until like 5, 6
That
miles to go
water
or something.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lauren Pierce was a little bit further, 8 plus 6, so like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Whew, okay. The women, MK, you don't need to dive down this, but the women that
I already know who's running.
the women who I think everyone should keep their eyes on for free. Obviously, this is the Sub Hub podcast, but our girl, we got to represent. Obviously, MK. I really think MK would have been really close to Rachel last year, and with her and Becca, and would have been in there at the end
For that win, if
Yeah.
possible, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously our girl MK, Mary Denholm, just second place at JFK. I don't know if she's run this race before,
I don't
but
think she has.
she's, as we say, heating up when we're playing games. I think Katie Asmith, being here on the east side, her coming off an injury, she wants that ticket and she's a badass baller and she's really good at like runnable downhill as we've seen at Western States multiple times. She can eat people up on that like after Forest Hill segment. And Heather Jackson, previous
Obviously.
winner. This course is right in her ballpark.
Oh no, she's been second
Twice?
She was second to Keely.
Oh,
And
that's right.
then
That's
last
right.
year she was outside the top 10, but
That's right. Okay.
she knows what she's doing on this course now. Like,
Yeah.
she's
Lauren
obviously a
Pierret's
threat.
third last year. It looks like she has run this race twice.
Becca
So
Wendell's back.
Becca
Was second last
Wendell,
year.
Abby Hall, another person who I think she lives in this area, or she can train on the course, knows it very well. Heavy hitter right there.
Riley Brady just won Javelina.
Yeah, and has run this race before.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't find them on the list right now, but let's just make sure. Yeah, Shenlin, she was in third place at Rucky Chucky before she had to drop out due to blisters. I think she is a huge sleeper, and we should expect to see her up
I
in
don't
that.
even know if she's a sleeper.
Yeah, she's not a sleeper. She showed her cards already. But,
Yeah.
you know, if you're a woman racing for a golden ticket, don't be surprised if she's taking it out or she's
Yeah.
right on your heels. And there's a plethora of other women too. Christina Mascarenhas, Tara Dower, Shea Aquilano,
Emily
uh,
Mann.
Emily Mann, Erin Clark. So the depth is
It's
deep.
crazy, y'all.
Yeah,
But that's why we do it.
This is mega stacked, and we love to see that.
Yeah.
This is what the golden ticket races should be. And part of
Yes.
me is like, if all these women are here, who's racing Tarawera?
I saw that Anna Cassius is racing. I didn't know that she was racing Tarawera, but she's
Okay.
going over New Zealand. Obviously, Helen's racing. But if Helen takes a ticket, it'll be the day that I die. So I don't know.
I think Caitlin Fielder might be in it.
The 100K?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I don't know. I think she was tethering between the 50K and the 100K.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, if all these people are here, who's over there? But that's how you get international representation.
It's
All
just
right.
sick that like all but basically Shin Lin are US gals. Like
Yeah.
so cool that that depth is here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 100%. There's another woman. I've never heard of this town. It's spelled Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ypsilanti.
Oh, it's in Michigan.
Yeah. It's definitely Yips is something.
Yeah, okay.
Yipsa.
Well,
Friggin' Michigan.
Is there any other ones? What is Shin? Okay, we'll switch to the guys.
I mean,
yeah,
there's
it
a
does
lot
say
of people. I
that's the
keep
only
like
China in
missing
there.
people.
All right, this men's race, I think it's going to be really, really, really interesting. Might as well, since we're covering it. Trayson Knopp, I believe he was 4th at Canyons.
No, he was 4th at Black Canyon last year. He was in the top 6. I can't remember if he was 4th or 6th, but he ended up dropping out of Canyons because he had like an Achilles thing going on.
Okay, he was 6th, yeah. And then was 4th at JFK recently.
Yep. Mackay Clemens, Eli Hemming.
Craig Hunt.
We got Jupiter Carrera, who was
he's
2nd
back?
last year. Yep.
Sick.
Tim Tollefson, who, if you asked him, ran a solid B race there last year and is coming back for redemption. Seth Ruling has won JFK before. Darren Thomas, Cole Campbell, Craig Hunt, who moved up from like 11th to 4th in the last 10 miles last year.
Legendary last 10 miles.
Legendary. Jared Hazen is back. There's so many names on both of these lists. And
Wait.
of course, like,
How are you seeing all this? Do you have a different list?
oh no, I'm just scrolling through and seeing the names that are like popping up because
Wow,
Ultra
you're
Sign Up
so
is
good
kind
at
of
that.
weird.
Yeah, it feels out of order.
People
I'm trying to find.
I'm gonna throw Adam Scholand into that race if he can run a smart race. Yeah, I mean, Danny Metzger. Shit, there's a lot of people on this list that I'm like, both races are gonna be insane.
I mean, being that it is the Subhub pod, does Eli win this on his first go?
I don't think so. I mean, it could definitely happen. Eli's obviously like a huge talent, but 100K is a beast, and it's so different from JFK too, obviously, right? Because JFK is like what, a 6-hour effort for the guys? No,
Yeah.
faster, closer to 5.
Oh, faster.
Yeah. And this is a 7.5. I don't know. We'll see. I just think it's a at least from my own experience, quite a big leap when you're racing against people who have a lot of experience, like in the distance.
Yeah. Who falls under that, like, has a lot of experience that you would kind of lean more on?
I think Mackay Clemens, he's got a lot of experience on this type of course too. Tim Tollefson, Jupiter Carrera, maybe Seth Ruling. I kind of put him more in like a 50K to 50 mile box, but he has done well at like CCC and stuff. Oh, Craig Hunt. I think Craig Hunt's ready for a big day there too.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to race it, and
Yeah.
he probably was probably of that group, similar to Rod's experience of I
That
should have
just went
gone
out too
earlier.
slow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he had
Especially-
gone 2 miles earlier, he was going to catch Chris. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, but that's racing.
that's
So,
racing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
obviously Eli's got a really good shot because he is like one of the best 50Kers in the world. He's proven that he can do 50 miles, but I just think that racing the 100K distance against people that are this experienced like does make the odds stack a little bit against him. But it is top 3 for a golden ticket, and I think the likelihood that he gets a golden ticket is higher.
Yeah. I think he's gonna win it.
You also are teamies, so you
I
almost
know,
have to say
I
it,
know,
but-
I know. I am Team Eli bias. I think if I was in his shoes, what just happened at JFK, if I'm just like, I'm saying this, Eli did not say this to me, but if I was in his shoes and JFK just happened, I'd be like, I'm gonna fuck sorry guys, I've been cussing today. I'm gonna F the next one up. Like, I could have avoided that. And
Yeah.
so he's like such a science, like mad scientist type of guy that he probably went back to work and was like, I want to make sure that doesn't happen in my
Yeah.
like 100K debut. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And the dude can just handle a lot of work. Like, if anything,
Yeah.
I've learned about Hele. So it'll be interesting. I think he also selfishly would be a pretty cool storyline to get into Western States, like OCC and Western States the next year. I'm rooting hard for Jupiter. I want him to go back to Western States. That was really freaking cool. Last year, that dude was a freaking tank machine. And I just love how he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You
I have
know?
way too many friends in the race this year. I mean, I
Yeah.
have too many friends on the women's side, but that's like different. Like, but I've got like 5 dudes in this race, and I'm like, wow,
Wait, who are your friends?
I can't give myself away on this pod. I'll tell you offline.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah, Craig Hunt I think would be great. Everyone you named, Mackay Clemens, Seth Ruling. Yeah, so I think I'm thinking of the same people. But you know, Danny Marino's never run 100K, so do not take my advice. I'm just like, I'm just a
We like the hot
I
takes.
observe, I spectate. Men's record.
I've only run 100K, so like, what is what am I saying?
I think the men's record actually could be in jeopardy, mainly because of what you said about the course being like so
Dry.
like dry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if it was the same course from last year, I don't know if it would be in jeopardy.
I
But
have a
it
hard
being-
time betting against Hayden.
I know,
Like,
it is hard.
He's not in the race. I'm just saying, like Hayden had a killer year last year. So looking at
Yeah.
that record, I'm like, ugh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
The
don't
only
know.
thing I don't know what is considered a record in jeopardy, but the main people I'm looking at is like Anthony Costales ran 7:32 and Tom Evans ran 7:37. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I think these guys are in
There's enough of them to like, yeah, push it up.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it'll be one of those things that we won't know until like the last 15 miles, like
Yeah.
people.
Because like we've
trending.
already said, a lot of these men have run this race before, so like they know how to run it now.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
All right.
That's
Well,
Black Canyon.
That's Black Canyon. Tune in. I think there'll be like a live stream and stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Last thing for this Trail Tales, unless you have any other ideas,
No.
I kind of wanted us to tell like 1 or 2 chaotic race stories.
Oh God. Yeah. Who's gonna start?
I can start with a short one,
Okay.
and then you can tell
Because yeah, Danny asked me this question the other day, and I was like, I don't think I have any like race stories, but I have like a pretty bad like week before a race story.
So, you know, you're getting ready for a race 2 weeks out. sometimes stuff happens that's not in your control and you have to deal with it. And sometimes it turns out to be like this crazy, like, I don't care, like careless attitude. You're like, I don't care what happens. Like the world literally delivered this terrible thing before. And then sometimes it turns out bad and you're just like, well, that's why, because all the 10 things, terrible things happened to me before. But this was kind of a fun one. This was Formidable 2019. So this was before my first 50K ever. And it was the USA 50K championships that year. And looking back now, it's pretty fun. Taylor Nowlin was in the race. Rachel Drake was in the race. Corey, I'm so sorry. I can't remember your last name right now. I want to say Connor. Um, and a few other women were in the race. Here, I'm looking it up. But the race was in Auburn, and at the time I was living in Santa Barbara. And to be honest, I didn't really venture up to the Tahoe area much. Like if I was going to go snowboarding, I'd go to Mammoth and just drive. And so with my now husband, we decided that we would go snowboarding after the 50K. Not a great idea if you're just running a distance for the first time, but that's another story. And so we decided we would fly into Reno, rent a car, and then drive through Tahoe so that on the way back, we could stop in Tahoe and then drop the car off in Reno instead of flying to Sacramento, driving all the way to Tahoe and back that way. And so I did that, and not having driven in this area much, there's one main highway. What is that one through Truckee and stuff? There's two. Oh,
Sorry, I was muted. I-80.
yeah, the I-80. And this race was in February. So it's middle of winter. And so we get into Reno, and I think we get there, like the race is on Saturday, and we get there on Thursday. And the plan was to drive all the way to Auburn, and I had this Airbnb rented, etc. And a huge snowstorm comes in because I, like an idiot, did not look at the weather, and the I-80 gets closed. And so I was like, shoot, what are we gonna do? We'll just wait till tomorrow, and hopefully the snowstorm stops. So we rent a hotel at like one of the casinos in Reno. We wake up and the snowstorm has gotten worse on Friday. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I looked into all the options. I was like, should we fly? Like, it seems like too much to like book a ticket now. And like, we had all these plans, etc. And so we decide we're just going to start driving and hope that it opens. Again, this is pre-Danny knowing how winter conditions work. No, that was a terrible freaking idea. Like, I thought we were gonna die. Like, cars were like spinning and like we kept
80
getting
is
stopped.
insane
It's
when
so
there's snow.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dangerous. And you can't see in front of you. And now we're approaching the point where, something that was supposed to take, I think that's normally like a 2-hour drive from, yeah, that area to Auburn. And um we start looking at Google Maps and we're like, okay, maybe we could take this more northern route. So we turn around and we start going more north. And I also didn't realize there was not like grocery stores along the way and stuff. MK's probably cracking up because she knows this whole area. And so all I had was this bag of chips that I ate all day, like a Costco sized bag of chips that I'm just like eating because I have no other food. And we started going this other way, and then that highway got closed and there was like no cars. So then we turn around and we end up going more north. And I'd have to actually look at a map, but this ended up being like a 10-hour drive that was
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
only be like 2 hours. Yeah. And the
Like,
race
almost
was
up to
the
like
next
Reading,
morning.
basically.
Yes, no, exactly. So I'm just like, why didn't we fly into Sacramento? I feel like such an idiot, but I kind of just laid in the back of the car horizontal, like this tiny, like Prius size. It was probably like a Honda Corolla or something like that. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to get to the race now. So kind of leaning into that, like, I just want to get to the start line. I've been training so hard for this first 50K, and when all is said and done, we ended up getting to Auburn at like 9 p.m. And luckily this restaurant like made food for us. And I ate like some pasta. I think it's like Alfredo or something. And I went straight to bed. And I had all these plans to like preview the course and stuff like that. And none of that happened. And so I wake up like having barely slept and just my whole dinner or most of the day before I'd eaten this giant bag of chips and I was just like, well, at least I have carbs, you know. And yeah, the race started and I felt so weird. Like I felt like I was like in a daze, I think because I was just so tired. Um and like I remember Rachel talking to me during the race. This was before we actually like knew each other, and Taylor was there and Corey Connor and stuff like that. And I don't know, like 5 miles in, I was like, you know what, F it, like let's just fucking roll. And at 10 miles, I was feeling so good that I just took off. And then I remember looking at my watch and being like, oh my gosh, there's 20 miles of this race left. Why did I just do that? That was such an idiot move. But I don't want to like back off and people think I'm dying and get like a mental edge from that. And so I just ran by myself for 20 miles, also similar to Canyons, where I was just like, just try and get out of sight because if someone came up on me, I don't know if I have a response, but I'll just keep pushing. um, but yeah, I ended up winning the race, which was sick. It was a 50K champs and like really good field. But yeah, that was a pretty chaotic story. So check the weather, folks, and yeah, choose the best option for getting to your race on time.
Yeah, don't fly into Reno in if you're
Middle
trying to
of
get to
winter.
Auburn in the
Yeah.
middle of winter, because
Now looking back,
shit
I'm like,
happens.
it's so idiotic.
Oh my gosh. So the only story that I can think of, and I might have others, but I just like, I don't know. This one is so like crazy ridiculous that every time I tell it, we'll see if I can even tell it without laughing, but it's so stupid. So, Way Too Cool 2022, I'm pretty sure. It was whatever year we met, so I think that was 2022. The week before, this is when I was still coaching at Nevada, and so we're at the Mountain West Conference Championships in Albuquerque for 3-4 days or something like that. Where, we get there Wednesday, we leave on Sunday or Saturday afternoon or something. And so I had like, planned that into my week, was like totally fine with it because we're tapering anyways. And we're in Albuquerque. We leave Saturday. The last day of the meet is Saturday. It's Friday evening, and we're having like, this team dinner. Everything's great. Everything's fine. I go up to my hotel room. I'm on the phone with Tommy. And I'm like, yeah, my stomach's kind of hurting. So I think I'm just gonna like hang up and go to bed. It's like 7 p.m. or something. And I remember texting the trainer and being like, hey, do you have like some Tums or like, papaya enzymes or something? And she's like, yeah, here, like, I'll just give you some Tums. And so I like had some Tums, and I like laid down in bed, and I think I was maybe in bed for like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna vomit. So I like run to the hotel bathroom and I vomit. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I just like ate something weird and it's like out of my system
Not
now,
to be weird,
whatever.
but was it like food vomit or like bile vomit?
Oh, it was all food. It was everything
Okay.
I had just eaten like
Okay.
30 minutes before that. It was a lot of puke. And so I was like, okay, like maybe something was just weird. And I like went and laid back down in bed. And the trainer's texting me at this point. She's like, hey, how's your stomach? I was like, well, I vomited, but like, I'm fine. She's like, really weird, because I just had like 5 athletes text me that they are like vomiting and pooping their pants also.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, oh no, I'm probably fine. Like it's totally okay. And then 2 minutes later, I'm back in the bathroom. Like I cannot. And so I
Wait, did you
called.
say what kind of food it was?
So for dinner, we had like this chicken meal, but that had literally been like 45 minutes before. So I don't think it was dinner. I think it was like whatever we had for lunch, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know. But
Okay.
so by the time Ashley was her name, like wrangles all of us together and was like, we're going to the hospital. This took like maybe an hour because all of us were just like, no, we're fine. But I had a room to myself. And some of the athletes that were sick, there were 2 of them, and they were going to the bathroom so frequently that like they couldn't, like the plumbing couldn't handle it. So
Oh
like
my
Ashley was like,
gosh.
we have to go to the bath or to the hospital. So I'm like, whatever, I don't think I need it, but like I'll be fine. And I get into the elevator, and the moment it moves, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna vomit. Like I have to puke right now. And I didn't, but I was like, I could barely walk to the car. I was like so lightheaded and like nauseous. The drive to the hospital was maybe 10 minutes. We had to stop 3 or 4 times on the way there for all of us
Oh
to
my gosh.
evacuate and puke and get back in the car.
This
It
kind of
was
reminds me of Bridesmaids. when
it was
they're
it was
all-
crazy, yes. So it was me and I think 4 or 5 of my athletes, like mostly sprinters and throwers. Like I don't think any of the distance kids got sick, but So I'm like, supposed to be their like adult, like, taking care of them, and I'm fully incapacitated. Like I cannot handle anything. I walk into the lobby of the
Hospital.
ER, and I immediately fall to my hands and knees, and I am puking,
Oh,
and I am
no.
also now shitting myself. And so I'm just like in the middle of this hospital. It's like maybe 1 a.m. at this point, and I am just like coming out of both ends, cannot control it.
Oh, no.
They
I
are like
wonder what
trying.
other people thought.
There was fortunately like one other person in the hospital waiting room, but like, none of the athletes are also pooping themselves. Like they're just vomiting. And it's me, Coach MK, like both sides. And so they're like trying to get me to like fill out information and stuff. And I literally can't. I can't go like more than 2 seconds without like vomiting into a bag or trying to. And so this was like during COVID times because this was 2022. So we were still kind of coming out of it. And they were like, yeah, we can't give you guys beds just for this. And I'm like, just for this? And so there are 5 of us, 6 of us in the hallway of this ER with saline bags in our arms, just on the floor. Some of us are in chairs. I was on the floor because I like literally could not handle like sitting down. I had to change hospital pants, Danny, at least 4 times. Like every time that I would dry heave or vomit,
Oh,
I would poop
no.
myself. It was
Oh.
like the most, it had to be like the most dehumanizing experience of my entire life to just be like in this hallway of a hospital, just pooping myself. And then, we finally get home at like 5 a.m. after we've all had like 2 saline bags, 3 saline bags, and the meet starts at like 8 a.m. and we all have to check out at, like 11 or something. So all of us who were sick slept until it was like 10:55 p.m. and then we like went to the track. And I just laid on the floor like in the indoor track for the entire day. And then we had to fly home that night. And I was so afraid that I was going to be on that plane and I was going to start pooping myself. I didn't, fortunately, after we left the hospital, but it was like some of the most terrifying moments. I was like, I'm going to die on this plane. So that, mind you, is a week before Way Too Cool. Like by the time I get
Gosh.
home, it's like Saturday evening. I've got a week until Way Too Cool. I'm like, there's no way I can run this race. Like that's the sickest to this day still that I have ever been. I think we decided, that it was norovirus, which if you've ever had norovirus, like it's 24 hours and it is the longest 24 hours of your life.
Yeah.
And so like I basically didn't eat food. I mean, I tried to eat as much as I could, but like up until like probably Thursday of that week, every time I'd try to eat, I would just like, And so, yeah, I basically went into Way Too Cool just being like, if I finish this race without pooping my pants, like it's gonna be a miracle. Which was probably the best way to go into a race because then I was like, whatever happens, happens. Like I just have to try to eat food and try not to poop myself. And I succeeded at doing both of those things and ended up winning the race, probably because I didn't put any pressure on myself. But that has to be like, I don't know, like maybe the craziest thing that's ever happened to me before a race. I
That
like
is
legit
crazy.
thought I was
Like
gonna
just
die
in
in
your
that
life,
hospital.
if
Yes.
you even didn't have a race.
Yeah. And then somehow Tommy didn't get it until like 10 days later because apparently norovirus, once you have it, it spreads through skin cells. So like him sleeping in the same bed as me or something is like probably how he got it. So he ran Way Too Cool also, but then got crazy sick that like Monday, Tuesday.
Wow.
And I was
that's
like, I'm not
insane.
even going to take you to the hospital because they're just going to tell you to sit in the hallway. It is way better to be here in your
Yeah.
bathroom where you have places that you can lay down and wash yourself.
Oh. That is
Oh my God.
insane.
It was
I just
awful.
am thinking too, if I was a collegiate athlete.
And your coach is just like on the
Yeah.
ground next to you, like sobbing and pooping herself.
Just like in this hallway. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I think we really like those athletes I became very close with after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like we were all like bonded from that experience.
Oh, poor things. Oh man.
God.
That
So yeah,
literally made me think of the bridesmaid scene with her.
you should have seen like our trainer like pulled over the side of the road next to a grassy area and we're all just like on our hands and knees, like violently vomiting onto the side of the road. And then she's like, we got to get back in the car. We're so close to the ER. And I'm like, okay.
When you
Oh.
can't control it, it's like, yeah, it's wild. It's like kind of scary.
Yeah, because you just don't know what's gonna happen.
You're like, am I gonna vomit my heart in my legs?
There's nothing left in me.
Yeah.
How am I still going? Mm,
I love it. Well,
yeah,
that
it
was
awful.
perfect. Thank you for sharing that story.
No problem. That's the only one I can think of, and it's pretty awful. So
The moral of the story is shit happens to everybody.
shit happens, and you'll probably have a good
You'll
race
probably have a good race. Yeah.
because you're not stressed about the race. You're stressed about everything else.
I
Oh
love it.
man. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed our
Trail tales.
unstructured trail tales. It
This
wasn't
is
that bad.
it's a true trail tales. We tell
Yeah.
tales. We tell tales.
We tell
And
tales.
yeah, this will come out the day that you are hearing us, but this is live the day before Black Canyon. So give our girl MK some love. Watch, follow on the Instagram. And there's going to definitely be a live stream, which will be
Yeah.
super sick. Probably, oh yeah, Mountain Outpost. And yeah, I'll be cheering super, super hard for our girl to hopefully get that ticket.
Yeah, and if you don't see me, then I made a really smart decision for my health, and I'll race again some other day.
Exactly. It'll
Yeah.
also be a smart decision if you decide to race.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just something came up. Something
Yeah.
came up. Hopefully not
So-
vomiting and pooping at the same time.
No, God, I hope that never happens to me again. No. I may stop racing if that's the case.
Well, again, listen to our Candid Coaching series. We have 3 incredible episodes with Kyla Chanel, Jocelyn Peterson, and Rainey McGregor. All the feedback we've gotten so far has been great. There's a couple more coming out. And yeah, this has been the Sub Hub Podcast.